Hey everyone, how's it going? In this video, we're going to be talking about network services. And in particular, we're just going to focus on the part about enabling them at boot, because that's what we want to focus on. We want to focus on the objectives and not stray too much. So with starting a service at boot, the first thing we need to cover is what is a service? So I'm going to reference always my sheet here, or my webpage here that I have. And then basically, think of a network service as something that computers use commonly to communicate. So if I have, like, for example, when I want to communicate with another human, I can use, for example, email, right? I can also use mail, like physical mail, like the post office. I can use my phone. And then so you can think of each of those as a different networking service. And then so in particular, when we talk about services, we can also talk about well-known services. So in this case, in particular, we're going to be talking about SSH. We're going to be talking about HTTP and HTTPS. So HTTPS is one that we actually use every day in this example. So we can go here to like Firefox. And HTTPS always is something that's available throughout the internet. So it's something that's used on web servers. And we can see it here, it's signified on Firefox here. It says here connection is secure. So that means it has an SSL certificate. And that uses port 443. And then HTTP, before we started focusing on HTTPS, use it port 80. So that's something that I have here. There's a table that we talk about. Or that I mentioned, and then there's a bunch of well-known ports there. It's very common, like even today at work, I used SSH for a task for a customer, and it's super common to use it on a day-to-day basis, especially like in networking as well. In one of my previous roles, we would SSH into switches all the time, like a L3 switch, and then bounce from that switch to another switch, and just SSH all over the place. So it's a very common service. It's always allowed. It's super common to have it on 22. And so, it's something you're going to use all the time. One file we can take a look at that's on your system is going to be the etc service file. So we can go etc service. Oh, let's see, service okay. And let's pipe that right into less. It's a lot of stuff. Okay, and so we go down here, we can see some, so we can just start from the top here. So network services, internet style. And this is just, like I said, port assignments, and well-known ports are here. And you can see here are the common ports is also another way of putting it. And then service name, protocol or port, and then alias comment. So one of the ones that we can look at here is SSH is one that's commonly used. We can also see Telnet, which isn't used that much. And again, TCP, UDP, I'm going to ask for, if you don't know what that means, then go back and search some things that can help you identify between the two. And then, time. Let's see, what's another good one? HTTP is another common one here. Okay, so we can get out of that. That's kind of to help if, let's say, for example, you're trying to figure out maybe what this service should be running on, or there's something going on that doesn't look right, and you got to change the port, or maybe somebody messed with the config file. You would prefer that. It's like, this service runs this. Okay. When it comes to enabling services, we have to talk about something called system control. Okay. So we can man system CTL like this. So system control, this controls the system D system. It's a lot there. And service manager. Okay. So this is used to control system D. Okay. And system D or system daemon, right? We can also man that. Okay. Let's see here. System D. Okay, And so system D, system manager, yeah. So it's just system D is a system and service manager for Linux operating system. When run as first process on boot, it acts as the init system that brings up and maintains user space services. Okay, so that's to give you the general overview of it. Okay, and it starts automatically, and then so we can actually look at it. Let's not use that one. Let's use this one. We can actually look at it here. If we look at with PS, we can see here it's PID1 here. Okay. Another way we can look at it, we can run top, and we can see here systemd as well. Okay. So root user here. Okay. And then there's another way to look at it. If you want to look at like the tree and see what kind of how everything falls under. But the main thing is that systemd is the first process. It acts as the init or the initiation, and it starts all the other services and gets the computer going to where you can use it. Okay. Since we're focusing on network services, one of the commands that we're gonna use here is going to be systemctl like this, and it's gonna be here list units. Okay, and if you ever like here like this units, and then type is going to be equal to service like this. Okay, so that's a good amount of things, right? So we have a bunch of services like here. This is going to be an important one in the future. Here it's going to be NTP service, which is our network, firewall D, which is the firewall. So a lot of good ones here. Another one that we can also use, right? Because that one was a little bit more limited, right? It had like active ones loaded. We're gonna actually use the system CTL. We can do list, right? And we can tab, right? List unit. And then we can tab, and we'll say unit files, okay? And we'll do like this. All right, and so that brings us a bunch of things as well. Let's see if we can do this service like this. Okay, and then so it brings us our service, and it shows us the state, preset, disabled, things like that, which is great. And then we're gonna also see if we can grep some things. Let's see if we can grep SSH. Okay, and then so we can see here the SSHD service, right, is disabled and the preset is enabled. So this is another way to find out which unit files are available, or I just call them service files or systemd files. They're just all files related to the systemd, okay? And so these things, so as we can see here, right, the one that we're going to focus on here is going to be SSHD. So this is the SSH daemon. And what this is doing for us, it's going to allow us to log in remotely into this machine. So we need this enabled, that way we can log into it remotely from somewhere else, okay? So the next command that we're going to focus on here is going to be another system control command, which is going to be here, and then we're going to do status, right? SSHD, right? Because we saw that with the and again here you can tab and it'll help you out, right? And then we can see here loaded, inactive, dead, disabled here. And then here we can see the preset actually is going to be enabled. So what this means here is that there's a config file there that is, when this is installed on that config file, it's enabled by default, right? But earlier what I did was I disabled it, okay? And so something that we're going to practice here is we're going to get it going. We know our service and we just want to start it. So we're going to just say SSHD service like this, start. Now something we can go back to is the service. So it's active, running, We can see here server listening on port 22, started up as a SSH daemon. Yep, so all good things so far, right? And then so now what we're gonna do here is we're going to reboot the system. So now I've rebooted the system. So let's go back and see if we can find that status, okay? So now we can see it's inactive, dead again, okay? So what we're gonna have to do now is enable it here, like this. Okay, now it creates that symlink, and here you can see multi-user target, right? Because we're booting up into a multi-user target, and yep, so it's creating that symlink, so that way when it calls this, it's also gonna call that service, okay? And then we're gonna reboot again. So we've rebooted the system again, and then let's go back. And now we can see that it's active, running, and we can even see here that it's enabled here, okay? And it started right here and listening, okay? So yeah, so that's how you enable a network service at boot. It's all about systemd and the system control commands. So yeah, that's all I have for you tonight. Thank you so much.